Welcome, luxury enthusiasts, to the Luxury Travelers Podcast, hosted by Rodney George. The ultimate passport to opulent destinations, extravagant experiences, and unparalleled indulgence. Whether one is a seasoned jet setter or daydreaming of the next lavish getaway, the Luxury Travelers Podcast has it all covered. So buckle up and prepare for a journey into the lap of luxury. Now, your host.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is when you're finally getting around to watching this version of the Luxury Travelers Podcast. I have a great friend and a knowledgeable professional on the horn with me today. I've got Richard Hickey, my friend with Avalon Waterways. Believe it or not, I know he doesn't look like it, but he's a 36-year veteran of the travel industry. So welcome, Richard.
Hey, Ronnie. Thanks for that great introduction. Great to be here with you.
Well, thank you for taking the time to take off from your Christmas shopping and visit with us here for a few minutes about Avalon and what's going on at Avalon.
Yeah.
I know that Avalon's part of Globus, but fill us in a little bit on how Avalon fits in that whole picture and why Avalon versus all the other choices out there.
Sure. Well, thank you for that. So, Avalon's part of the Globus family of brand, and the Globus family of brands is a global company, Rodney, that actually has been around 96 years. Started and still run and operated by the same family, but started in the escorted touring segment of the industry. And 20 years ago this year, saw what was happening in the river cruise industry. So we launched Avalon Waterways. So celebrating 20 years now. It's a big part of our business. River cruising is, as you know, it's really on the rise. The popularity's stronger than ever before. It's really one of the segments that's rebounded after we call the great pause, if you will. But it's important to know where we kind of fit in the marketplace with Avalon Waterways. We currently own and operate 15 what we call panorama suite ships, and they are award-winning. We just received some great awards this week from Cruise Critic. I know you're familiar with Cruise Critic. We were voted Best River Cruise Line and Best Cabin. So it's really some great accolades to the type of hardware that we provide for your clients to be cruising on the rivers.
How do your staterooms compare size-wise? What are we looking at as far as the top end there? Because that seems to be where our clients want to go. They want to start at the top and work their way down if they must.
Sure. So one of our most stunning innovations, most of our ships run, as you know, the rivers, we all pretty much have the same, especially in Europe, we all pretty much have the same size ships.
Right.
A lot of times going through the same ports. Our ships carry 160 guests. Some carry more, some carry less. So we tend to focus more on spacious public rooms and staterooms.
Uh-huh.
But our panorama suites are really one of the most stunning innovations on river cruising today, because we've done away with the traditional French balcony and step-out balcony with a metal railing, and we have what's called an open-air balcony, Rodney, where the bed faces the window. It's a large glass window that opens up 11 feet. That's about 11 feet wide, opens up to 7 feet. So the guests always have a view of the river landscape when they're cruising the rivers that we do cruise, no matter what the weather's like. So they really enjoy it. And they start at 300 square feet, then we go down to 200 square feet. But they add about 30% more to the stateroom by not having that real traditional balcony, if you will. So the configuration makes it easier to have a more spacious bathroom as well. So it's a lot of great luxury amenities on board, room service. We provide all types of L'Occitane products, luxury products as well. So just really comfortable, laid out staterooms for river cruising.
Now, are those the ones, because I was on one of your ships a couple of years ago, are those the ones that have that balcony is actually almost a part of the room?
Yeah, it is. It's a part of the room. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
Beds face the window, and you can open up the window if you want to, obviously to let some fresh air come in. But again, you've always got a view. So some cruise lines may have the bed not facing the window, and to look out, you got to look over like this, and look over your partner. So, but this way the bed's facing the window and it's always a beautiful view. And again, one of the great accolades, we just received awards from Cruise Critic for the best staterooms with that innovation as well.
Wow.
So,
Wow. So are you guys currently operating on all the major rivers in Europe?
Correct. We're all over in Europe. We cruise the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube, as you know. That's where the majority of our inventory is right now. In 2025, we're going to have 3 ships, Rodney, in France. We're a very guest-centric cruise line, and our president, Pam Hoffey, is always sending out a wish list to our guests to kind of look and see what they're looking for and where they'd like to go. And over the last couple of years, we've continued to see France as a top destination. So we have the south of France, Burgundy, Provence. We have the historic Seine River out of Paris going up into Le Havre and visiting the Normandy beaches, the landings. And then new next year, we're going to go into the Bordeaux region. We're going to be covering, I know you're a wine fan.
Yeah.
So we're really happy about this because, we're going to be covering those 3 key wine regions. We're going to go to the Medoc wine regions where the Cabernets are, down to Saint-Emilion where they really make the Merlots, and then we're going to go south down to Cadillac for the nicer tones and the dessert wines. So we're excited about that. And we know that it's about wine and it's about chateaus, but our team's kind of put together a unique program. We're going to spend some more time in destinations, some of the ports. We're going to go to Acrosan Bay. As you know, it's a beautiful seaside area with beautiful dunes.
Yeah.
Maybe eat some oysters as we're down there. So, yeah. And we went into the Douro this year, the Douro in Portugal.
Oh, yeah. Portugal. Yeah. That is such a beautiful river. I did it last year and I was amazed at the diversity of not just climate, but the landscape, how different it is. I mean, you go through some of those locks and you come out and all of a sudden it looks like you're in a totally different country. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Portugal as a whole has been a really popular destination, and especially on the Douro on river cruising. So we built the Alegria, which means happiness in Portuguese, just carrying 102 guests, and we built her to our specs, which is the Panorama Suites. And she's round trip out of Porto. We have some great, it's the birthplace of port wine for those of your clients that have never experienced this area. It's one of the oldest wine-making regions in Europe and birthplace of port wine. So we've got some great wine tours, a lot of history with the Coa Valley. And it's great. As you know, there's no cruising at night because it's a narrow river.
Very treacherous.
The locks are closed. So we're actually in port at night so your clients can go ashore and really experience the destination in the evening as well. So, yeah, Portugal's hot. France is hot. All through, from the North Sea down to the Black Sea and everything where in between is really popular with river cruising.
Well, how do you touched on the Panorama Suites, but you guys also do something that's rather innovative in your excursions. It's not just here's the excursion of the day. You guys do multiple levels, right?
Right. Great. Yeah. We have what's called Avalon Choice, and obviously being a land company, we do land very well with the escorted tour side of it. So when your clients go ashore, Rodney, they've got 3 categories of tours to choose from. We have our classic tours, which are going to be the must-see. Those are going to be, your castles, the Avignon in Avignon, the Pope's Palace in Avignon. They're going to be staying at landmarks, the fortresses, so those really key, iconic venues. But in 2017, we launched what's called Active and Discovery Cruises. We found that guests wanted to continue kind of their active routine when they go on vacation.
Right.
So we've got a series of cruises where we offer hiking, biking, and kayaking. Speaking of the Douro, I was just on a kayak on the Douro earlier this year. I was kayaking in the south of France. I was hiking in Budapest. So we have these active tours for clients that want to, continue that active routine. But then we have those immersive experiences that we call discovery. And these are where your clients can attend a cooking class, a baking class, a painting class in Vienna, where they can, paint painting The Kiss from the famous Austrian painter Gustav Klimt. It's famous for the movie Woman in Gold. We can taste wine in caves in Avignon, underground with winemakers. So these discovery cruises allow your clients to really immerse themselves in the local culture, in the history as well. So we have them on every Europe sailing, and they include about 28 excursions. So it's a great value. So again, you get to see the must, but also some cultural and active experiences on those cruises as well.
Now, is there an upcharge for those other two levels, or are they included?
No, they're included. Now, we do have some optionals, Rodney, that aren't included. Say maybe you want to attend a concert in Vienna, but, pretty much all of our tours are included. And, they're on a relaxed place. They're activity level rated, so you could be relaxed or moderate or very active, like I said. Yeah. So
I assume your ships are like most river ships in that they have, they're restricted to just one dining opportunity, one dining.
Well, we
venue.
do have our main restaurant. So dining, as you know, it's important no matter what cruise you're on, really, and I know our chefs take great pride in preparing regional cuisine, but so we have various ways to dine. We have our main restaurant, the Panorama restaurant, where all three meals are served. We've got a great, what we call farm to vineyard table program over in Europe, Rodney, where we've really partnered with local farmers to bring on their local ingredients and serve them to our guests, your clients. But we also have partnered with some wineries over there. So on all of our European cruises, we have all European wines. So you're not going to have any from the U.S. that are going to be over there. They're all European wines. And so you have the main restaurant, all three meals are served, but so maybe some guests are looking for a relaxed experience. They go to the Panorama Lounge, where we have tapas and a light menu from the main restaurant. As I mentioned earlier, we have room service, all three meals. If the guests want to stay in their stateroom and enjoy that beautiful landscape on their open-air balcony, they can enjoy their meals. We have a picnic basket for clients we have a fleet of bicycles on board. So if you want to go off on your own with your partner, then we'll pack a picnic basket for you. Go off on your own. We have barbecues up on top on the Sky Grill. So there's plenty of opportunity to be able to dine on board the Panorama Suite ships.
So, Richard, those bicycles you're talking about, are they power assisted?
We have a few of those. We have a few e-bikes. Yeah,
I do okay until we start hitting those big hills.
Yeah. So we've got those hosted bike trips where there are some e-bikes. We do have a great tour out in Avignon where we go on a 3-hour escorted bike ride, which are all e-bikes. So you go through the small towns and you end up in that aqueduct. Yeah. So
you'd have to have e-bikes there.
We do see some guests looking for the e-bikes. You know what's great about the e-bikes, Rodney, is I found that it's great because sometimes you have a guest that might be a little bit apprehensive on getting on a bicycle. They haven't been on a bicycle in a while, so they're kind of nervous that they're not going to be able to keep up with everybody. They flip on that electric motor and there they go.
They're gone.
But we always have to preface it, but it's not a moped. You still have to pedal to keep that electric motor going. So, yeah. Those are great experiences.
We had a group go off of a ship a couple of years ago, and I was giving one of the guys a hard time. I said, Larry, you're going to have to try this, but because I couldn't come up with any training wheels for you.
And you always have to let the guests know that when you do stop, you got to turn that motor back a little bit, because if you start where you stopped, it may,
throw you right off the bike. Yeah. Well, living in Naples, Florida, a lot of the people who work in the restaurant industry, they have taken to those because they live outside the city of Naples, and they've taken to those electric bikes and they ride them like maniacs down here. I mean, those things will whiz.
Yeah, we see them over here in Miami too. They're pretty much everywhere, so, but again, we got a few of them and it's a great experience.
Since you guys are part of a bigger whole, with your real presence started on the land side of the business, do you tie those land opportunities in with your cruises?
Sure. Yeah. Great question. Yes, we do. So we obviously on the land side, we're all over the globe on the land side, but rivers primarily over in Europe. We cruise Southeast Asia on the Mekong. We have a couple chartered ships. We have one in Egypt as well as down in the Galapagos as well. So, But it's important to know that guests can combine a land experience as well as a river cruise. We do have some, Rodney, especially on the Rhine, where we've already pre-programmed these land experiences with the rivers. But anytime guests like as you know, you're not going to send a client over there just for 7 days. You want to send them on a pre or a post.
Exactly.
They want to really spend some time over there. So if they go ahead and look at the land side of it, then we can marry both of them. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to be able to experience it.
So on your land portion, is it like one size fits all, or are there different levels there? Because you have somebody that's in a panorama suite, they may not be happy with the a budget hotel room. Do they have a chance to upgrade?
Yeah, absolutely. So on the Globus side, we do have what's called our small group discoveries. And the small group discoveries is a new touring style that is more of an elevated premium experience, if you will. You've got more boutique, upscale type of accommodations, most exclusive excursions as well, and feature benefits. So yeah, we can marry that component on the land side, on the river side, especially in the higher categories, making sure the accommodations fit the needs of the guest as well.
Okay, you mentioned you've got, I think you said 2 or 3 new ships coming for France.
Yeah, well, we've got the new itinerary. We've got the Artistry 2 that's going to be in France. So we've got 15 ships currently. I anticipate there'll be some additions, more. When you get on board, when your clients get on board, Rodney, what we offer is kind of a relaxed luxury style on board. It's we're really fortunate because 80% of our staff return every year. We have one of the highest retentions of staff in the river industry. So they really engage with the guests. A lot of guests come back. They know who that bartender is, or that waiter, or that maitre d'. So it really takes it to the next level. Our president, Pam Hoffey, has really instilled a great culture into our team on board. That's why we get such a high repeat factor. It's a privately held company. It's kind of like a family. So it's just an extension of the culture we have on land to the river as well. Yeah.
So you hit on something there. With cocktails and wine services, are those extra, or are those included with Avalon?
Well, we serve beer and wine at lunch and dinner.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then we do have a happy hour every evening during the port talk. As you know, right before dinner, we do have the port talk, and the cruise director is going to kind of recap the day and talk about tomorrow. So we open up the bar for our guests.
That'll get them there.
We have drink specials, regional wines, beers, and the spirits. But outside of that, they would pay for, outside of dining in the happy hour, they would pay for.
Well, you get them there
drinks.
for happy hour and get them started on the evening, and then they got wine with dinner. I think that's going to take care of most people.
Well, what's nice about our dining experience, Rodney, that I want to mention is we have what's called flex dining. And at times on river cruising, it can be pretty regimented dining, where right after that port talk, you got to get into the restaurant and you got to get out. So with our flex dining, your clients can show up anywhere between 7 and 8:30 and enjoy a really nice meal in the restaurant. So let's say they're back up at the Panorama Lounge, happy hour, they're extending their drink time with some friends, family, and don't want to go down to dinner. They can go down there anytime between 7 and 8:30 and don't feel rushed at all to have to get out, get up to the entertainment, or worry about closing down the restaurant. So we call it flex dining on board. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense, because I've been on some river cruises where it's almost like somebody ring the dinner bell and it's a cattle call. Gotta go strap on my feed bag. Well, what's beautiful is that, like, some of the ports you guys go to, you're actually doing some overnights, especially as you mentioned on the Douro, which gives people a chance to get off the ship and experience the local cuisine as well.
Yeah, that's important. We do several overnights in a lot of the marquee cities. Over in Europe, you've got Vienna, you've got Austria, you've got Budapest, you got down in France as well. So that's always nice. One of the things that we do offer is we have what's called special interest cruises for clients who might be looking for some type of a theme. Let's go back to your wine, because I know you're a big wine fan. So we have a series of wine we call wine lover cruises, where we bring on a master of wine. And as you know, they're educated in wines. They come on board. We have a series of them in France. We have them on the Rhine and the Danube. And they're there to share their knowledge with our guests about wine. We have wine pairing. We have wine tasting. And then they'll accompany the guest in specific shore excursions to some wineries. So it's really a big hit, our wine lover cruises. We have history cruises. We really delve in history in certain itineraries. And we have beer tasting cruises for those fans that are beer tasting, especially during Oktoberfest. Festive cruises. The Christmas markets are really popular. The Christmas markets have taken off in popularity. So we've even added 3 new Christmas markets next year because those festive times over there are very popular. They do. You can go into some of these major cities like Vienna and Budapest, and there'll be 6 main Christmas markets. Or you go into some of the smaller cities like Dürnstein or Melk, and they've got one really quaint Christmas market.
Okay, so you're doing the Danube and the Rhine for the Christmas markets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Danube and the Rhine for Christmas markets. Yeah. So again, we have garden cruises out of Amsterdam, especially during tulip time. That's a real popular time, so they can experience more of the garden cruises as well. So we have something for everybody. Absolutely.
Sounds like it. And I love the excursion options because so many of the river cruise companies, here's what we're doing tomorrow. You got one thing, and you've got 2 or 3 things.
Yeah,
so,
we offer 2 to 3 choices. Yeah, that's what's great about Avalon Waterways. That's what river cruising. It's popular. You've seen it. The ships have evolved. We're getting, more unique on the innovations on the staterooms. We've got a broad range of shore excursions ashore. We've got multiple dining experiences. So the only thing we don't have is a disco and a casino, as those ocean ships have, Rodney.
Well, at 72, I stay away from the discos, and I've never been a big gambler, so I would feel right at home.
Well, we can turn in the lounge to a little bit of disco at night, because of the various itineraries. But yeah.
We had a large group on the river a couple of years ago, and it was only our group. It was right after COVID, and we turned the lounge into a karaoke bar every night about 9:30. Most of the people would go to bed, and there were some diehards there, about 20 of us that we maybe some people thought we might have been a little overserved, but we were having a blast with our karaoke. We had the place to ourselves.
No, it's a lot of fun. And that's what's great about river cruising. You only have about 160 guests on board or 128 guests. So it's intimate. You kind of go at your own pace if you want to. And
you get to know a lot of them in the brief time you're on there.
No, absolutely.
Well, Richard, our time is winding down. I can't believe we're 25 minutes into this thing already. Real quick, I have a keen interest in that Bordeaux and Rhone areas. Tell me, just drill down a little bit on those 2 real quick because we got a couple minutes left here.
So the Rhone, we've been cruising there for a while. So that's going into Arles and going down south. You get into Avignon, Viviers, and I did that cruise earlier this year. And it's not only wine.
For some truffles.
It's truffles. It's wine. It's olive oils, it's history. There's so much on that cruise to offer.
Really is.
And especially with our active and discovery cruises, I attended a painting class and I felt like it was Monet. I was painting down in, Monet, and I tasted wine in these caves in Avignon. We put on these, wearing these hats and these lights and these heads, and had a winemaker go down and did some wine tasting. We did the bikes and we saw the Pope's Palace. So it's really a great destination for art, wine, history. The great thing about France is it's all those wine regions, and there's great wines that come out of Bordeaux. I've done that cruise a couple times, and it focuses on the wine and the beautiful chateaus that have been passed down by generations.
Right.
But there's so much to do as well out there. Like I said, Akershon Bay, you can spend a lot of time in Bordeaux and see the city and the highlights there as well. So that'll be starting in March of 2025, and it's a 7-day round trip out of the Bordeaux wine region. What we're also seeing, Rodney, is a trend where there's longer cruises. So we have guests that, want to do multi-river multi-country type cruises. So for next year, we've got about 16 cruises that are going 9 to 22 days. So you can do all 3 rivers in France if you want to. You can go up to the Rhine after France if you want to, or the Danube. So that goes back to, we can tie in a land component or another river component or country as well. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys have really gotten innovative in the river offerings, which is good because the more innovative you become, you got a lot of people that are starting to go, well, I've been on all the rivers in France. Yeah, but have you done it this way?
Right. Yeah. And you know, what we're seeing, Rodney, is, our ocean friends do a great job. They've always done a great job over the years. But we're seeing about 80% of our guests coming from ocean. So, they've done the ocean ports. They've been there. They've done that. And now they're looking into the interior of the country so they can go through the heart in a little bit more intimate atmosphere as well. Yeah. So, and then, it's a land experience too, without being on a motor coach all day.
Which is good. You don't feel the bumps near as bad on the river as you do on the motor coach.
You wake up in the morning, your motor coach is right there. You go off, you come back, and you have your time. So it's a beautiful world on the rivers that we cruise.
Yeah, folks, and it's a great multi-generational opportunity too, to have your adult children and your grandchildren, or even a skep gen. Leave your kids at home and just bring the grandkids.
Rodney, that's a great point. For these active and discovery cruises,
yes,
we're seeing the multi-gen.
Yes.
Because the teenagers, the minimum age is 8. We don't really see a lot of young kids, but we do see some teenagers because they can experience the active tours, and grandparents and parents don't have to worry about them. So they can go off and come back and talk about their day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Richard, I could sit here and talk with you all day long about a variety of topics, but river cruising was the assignment today, and I think we killed it.
Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate it. Well, you're knowledgeable. Yeah.
Really appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Happy holidays to you.
Same to you. Same to you, my friend. And for those of you who maybe haven't seen a previous version of this show, I always close with enjoy yourself. It is later than you think. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining us on the Luxury Travelers Podcast. For more information, head on over to luxurytravelerspodcast.com to connect with our team or leave us a message. Until next time, safe travels and savor the extraordinary.